Hello, it's Mallory here with All About Cats, and this is my cat Wessie. He's currently very hungry, which is very appropriate for today's topic, which is how to feed your cat. So we're going to be going over the basics of what you should be feeding your cat, how often you should be feeding your cat, and how much they should be eating on a daily basis. So let's get on into it. First off, I have to explain that this video is not going to give any specific product recommendations. I've done a lot of videos recommending the best cat food on the market, so I'll put links in the cards and the description if you'd like to check that out. Instead, I'm going to be giving general advice to help you choose food regardless of what's on the market and to decide how exactly your cat is going to get that food. So I hope this gives you a good foundation. Additionally, I have to mention that this video is sponsored by Tuft and Paw. So you may have heard me mention this brand before on the channel. It is a brand offering stylish cat furniture that makes your house look better, not worse, like a lot of other cat items do. So if you would like to get 10% off your order, you can enter the coupon code AllAboutCats10 at checkout. So thanks again, Tuft and Paw, for sponsoring this video. So first off, we need to talk about what your cat should be eating. So I know it's kind of a meme in the cat world that cats domesticated us, cats trained us, so we're cats' pets. They're not really our pets, but there's more truth to this than you might assume. So cats first entered human settlements about 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, or so it's thought. And at that time, they came opportunistically to feast on the mice that gathered around grain stores at that time, or so the current historical understanding says. So there were these wild cats, they came into human settlements and, they didn't really need any additional domestication or breeding in order to become valuable parts of human society. So you look at dogs, for instance, and they've been selectively bred for thousands of years. Not so with cats. Cats remain essentially the same as their wild ancestors. One of the first ways in which we can see how little our cats have changed from their wild ancestors is in their nature as obligate carnivores. So unlike some other carnivores that are able to synthesize certain nutrients that are naturally found in raw meat and their prey, cats require the nutrients that come from prey, and there's no other natural source for these. So a few examples are the amino acid taurine, which is probably one of the most famous ones that is only found in animal sources, with the exception of some plant sources like from algae, but that's very minimal and your cat's not getting it that way. So they have to get taurine from animal sources. There are also some fatty acids that cats need to get from animal sources. And the only way that we're able to get these to our cats without feeding them raw, fresh animals is by making fake versions of them. So synthetic supplements. Every single food on the market that has met AAFCO guidelines for nutritional completeness is modeling whole prey. It's modeling the nutrients that would naturally be found in your cat's whole prey. And generally when you talk to a veterinarian about what your cat should be eating, this is kind of where the conversation stops. They'll tell you that your cat's food needs to be formulated and it needs to meet AAFCO guidelines for nutritional completeness for the cat's life stage. They'll recommend that the food has undergone feeding trials to ensure that it's nutritionally adequate. But that's about it. As always, I am not a veterinarian nor a veterinary nutritionist. Feel free to ask your vet about this. I just want to present some information that might be more satisfying to curious minds. There are two really big things that I would think about when looking at cat food. There's a lot more to consider, but these are the two that I think are the most important. The first is moisture. And I had a realization a few years ago that all dry food is nutrient deficient. Yes, it's able to meet those guidelines, but because cats have very low thirst drives, and it has been documented that cats who consume a dry diet consume about half as much moisture as those on a wet diet, even considering the water they drink in addition to their food. Considering that a dry food is deficient in the most important nutrient, which is water, okay? Cats need water to survive, and perhaps most obviously, cats need water to flush out their urinary tracts. And many cats, especially younger male cats, will struggle with urethral blockage or cystitis or other urinary tract issues. And probably the best way to combat that is simply feeding a wet diet. So I would never advise feeding a dry food. Sometimes it's more convenient, sometimes cats are addicted to it, but if you have the opportunity to feed your cat wet, please feed your cat wet. The second thing I think about when choosing a cat food is carbohydrate content. So it's a little bit of a contentious area because it's been shown that cats can metabolize carbohydrates and they can utilize sugars for energy. However, this is not a part of the evolutionary diet of a cat. So cats, again, they live off of whole prey, and these do not contain sources of carbohydrates. And so cats are able to meet all of their energy and nutrient needs through non-carbohydrate nutrients, so protein and fat as macronutrients. Additionally, it's been shown that both glucose and protein metabolism in cats affect serum glucose and insulin levels in ways similar to that of a diabetic human. So we're seeing some similarity between a normal healthy cat and diabetes pathology in people. Again, there's not been any conclusive link between a high carbohydrate diet and developing diabetes in cats. Just considering that it's not a part of the natural feline diet, it's not what cats' bodies evolved to utilize, I would consider carbohydrates to be both unnecessary and suboptimal as a part of a cat's diet. It gets a lot easier to avoid high carbohydrate foods once you start ruling out dry foods, because most wet foods tend to be free of those ingredients that boost those carbohydrate levels. And then once you've gotten a great baseline with high moisture content, low carbohydrate content, the other things you're going to want to think about are ingredient quality, company reputation, and price. And all of those things are going to be kind of subtle and depend on your preferences. So once you've chosen the food that you want to give your cat, how much of that food should you be giving them? And that depends on your cat. So kittens are going to need about twice as much food as an adult cat. So they need about 60 to 65 calories per pound of body weight. An adult cat is going to need about half that amount, so about 20 to 33 calories per pound of body weight. And that number is going to be higher or lower depending on a number of factors. I would recommend using the cat weight calculator on allaboutcats.com to figure out what your cat should weigh and how much they should eat to either maintain that weight or reach that ideal weight. It was developed with the help of veterinarian Dr. Chris Vanderhoof. Thank you so much. And it's a really helpful tool that I think you'll find really useful in getting a good handle on how much you should be feeding your cat every day. And then our last section is when you should be feeding your cat. This is a really interesting question. So some researchers looked at how frequently cats, feral cats, would have meals. So they would catch on average 7.2 prey animals each day in the study, and then they would eat about 5 of them each day. There have also been some lab studies where they saw how many times they went to have a meal, and those cats were eating about 16 meals a day. So regardless, we're seeing that cats are eating multiple meals a day, often many meals a day. The number of meals a day goes up when the cat is really bored, but cats don't seem to want to just eat 1 or 2 meals a day. It seems that cats want multiple small meals throughout their day. Now, this isn't going to be feasible for everyone, but I would recommend at least breaking your cat's food up into 2 meals at least every day and positioning them at the normal hunting times for a cat. So cats are crepuscular creatures. They hunt at dawn and dusk. It's when they're most active, and it's nice for them to have a meal around the time that they would naturally hunt. So if you can feed your cat around dawn, feed your cat around dusk, maybe break it up into a few little meals during that period, or hide little meals around the house during those periods. That would be ideal. So that's about it. I hope that this helped you and maybe left you feeling a bit better equipped to go forth and feed your cat properly. Remember that I'll put links to all of my cat food reviews and guides in the description, so you can refer to those and perhaps choose a food that you think will work for your cat. I'll also put a link to sign up to get the complete guide to feline nutrition, which is a veterinarian written, veterinarian reviewed, extensive PDF that goes into far more detail on the basics of feline nutrition, as well as some top recommendations. So you can see the link to that in the description as well. So thank you so much for being here. I know it's been a while since I've put something up. I've been working on trying to get ahead on scripting and preparing videos for the next year. So again, I really, really appreciate that you're here, and I'm very thankful for your support. So yeah, thanks again, and I will see you very soon. Bye.